Good afternoon, everyone. Looks like we got a big crowd. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for June 25th, 2024. It is 2:01 p.m. My name is Adam Mayberry. I'm the Vice President of the Washoe County School Board. Board President Smith has some prior commitments. We're going to move to item 1 on the agenda. Item 1.01, call to order. 1.02 is roll call. Clerk Rodriguez, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Vice President. Trustee Church.
Here.
Vice President Mayberry.
Here.
Trustee Nicolette.
Good afternoon.
I am here. President Smith is absent. Trustee Westlake.
Here.
Trustee Woodley.
Here.
Mr. Vice President, we have a quorum.
Okay. Thank you, Clerk Rodriguez. Item 1.03 is our Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to, before we do that, just want to invite our interim superintendent, Dr. McNeil, to lead us in the pledge. She has spent 29 years with the district, came back to help us have a safe landing while we continued and were successful in our superintendent search. So this is the last meeting that she'll be behind the dais. We'll have formal goodbyes in our July meeting. That'll be the completion of the transition. But again, Dr. McNeil will be honored to have you lead us in honoring our great nation, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, sir. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McNeil. Item 1.04 is our land acknowledgement, and I've invited Clerk Rodriguez to read the land acknowledgement. Clerk Rodriguez, please.
Yes. So every community owes its existence and validity to generations from around the world who contribute their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn here to leave their distant homes in hopes of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations that can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connections across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what we've been buried by to honoring the truth. We acknowledge that some of our educational structures are situated in traditional homelands of the Washoe, the Numu, the Paiute, the Nidwi, Shoshone, Nuwu, and Paiute, Southern Paiute peoples. We pay respect to their elders, past and present. These lands continue to be gathering places for indigenous people, and we recognize their deep connections to these places. We extend our appreciation for an opportunity to live and learn in their territory.
Thank you, Clerk Rodriguez. As a matter of information, I am going to move item 6.01, public comment, up to before board reports, so that'll be heard before 5.01. Okay. All right. We're going to continue to our consent agenda item. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of Trustees with one action and without an extensive hearing. I don't have any items that I've heard from any other trustees to be pulled, so...
Madam President, I'm sorry, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Mr. President, I would like to comment on one, but I'm not going to pull anything.
Okay. Now's the time to do that, sir.
I want to comment on the last agenda item. I believe it's 2.22. Let me pull it up. Basically, I don't want to drag, staff in or make a long thing because I know that this would pass, but I'm just opposed, as I've stated in the past, to reappointments for positions because I think it's better to open it up to the public and let them vote. And let them apply and see who applies. And if the present person is wonderful in the present position, the most qualified, they can be reappointed, but I do like to open it up to others. So I'll go ahead and vote yes over on the consent agenda, but I wanted to put that on the record.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Church. Appreciate that. If there's no other discussions, looking for public comment, JJ?
Nicole Harris for consent agenda item 2.21.
2.21, okay. Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Harris. I live in Reno. And I was looking on this consent calendar, and I know most of you are in agreement of more transparency, getting more involvement of our people in our community. And I would also like to echo what Trustee Church has says, that we really should make an effort of opening it up for residents of our community to apply. I know there are many positions that are available, and I know a lot of our community members are very, very busy. They're struggling to make ends meet, get their kids in school, etc. However, in the greater scheme of things, for our betterment of our school district and our community, and to bridge some of the disagreements, I believe that having the board work and sending out announcements to the local civic organizations such as Rotary, Kiwanis, the Elks Club, even though they're non-political, the Women's Club, any organization, to get more community involvement. We need more people to serve, not less people. And I think you, as our esteemed school board, are in a unique position to be in the leadership to head this effort. I know we also have the same issues at our city councils, at our county commissioners, and I really think those that are elected by our people really have the opportunity to take the leadership and put our community in better stead for the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, we'll bring it back.
The board received an email from Michael Gothorpe Hutchins related to consent agenda item 2.12.
Thank you, JJ. Okay, we'll bring it back to the board now.
Mr.
Trustee
President,
Alex.
I'm ready to make a motion, please.
Okay, sir.
I move that the Board of Trustees approves consent agenda items 2.02 through 2.22.
Okay, I see a motion by Trustee Woodley to approve consent items 2.02 to 2.22. The second from Trustee Rodriguez. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 3, or finance items. Finance items. Okay, thank you. First time in the left seat, so be patient with me. We're going to hear from item 3.01. This is consideration and adoption of Washoe County School District Bond Resolution 24-014, resolution concerning financing of school improvements, directing the Chief Financial Officer to notify Washoe County Debt Management Commission of the district's proposal to issue general obligation bonds additionally secured by pledged revenues in one series or more in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $200 million, providing certain details in connection therewith and providing the effective date therewith. With us is Mark Mathers. He's our Chief Financial Officer. Good afternoon, Mr. Mathers.
Good afternoon. You're quick. JJ, could we flash up attachment B to this item? So to talk about this agenda item, this spring the board approved our 5-year capital improvement plan, which laid out proposed capital projects for each of the next 5 years. And that document also provided a plan of proposed revenue sources. And one of those revenue sources are future issuance of new long-term debt. So consistent with that, following up on that action, the proposed resolution in front of you authorizes myself, the CFO, to begin the authorization process for that long-term debt, which for this item consists of, could you go to the last page, please? Consists of $200 million worth of new WC1 general obligation bonds. And so these are general obligation bonds issued by the district, has the full faith and credit of the district, but is backed by the WC1 sales tax revenues we receive as a result of voter approval of that ballot measure in 2016. This is just the first step of many to issue this debt. Again, this authorizes myself to go to the Debt Management Commission, who actually is the body that has to approve authorization of this debt first before you do. The last page of Attachment B provides some financial, financial information for you to see. This actually is the second page of Attachment B, and it shows you that even at our current levels of WC1 sales tax revenues is $67 million. Once we issue this $200 million, we still have more than almost $20 million of remaining revenues that we could bond for. So with the approval here today and ultimately issuance of the $200 million, total debt service would equal roughly $48 million compared to just current revenues of $67 million. That's a cushion of 30%. And this doesn't include any projection of future sales tax revenue growth, which of course we would have. So we're very comfortable in recommending $200 million to you. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Mathers, could you just bring some clarity on why this particular item doesn't notify the oversight panel for schools, facilities, contrast to the next item?
Yes, sir. State law requires the oversight panel for school facilities to approve, just like the Debt Management Commission, rollover bonds that pledge the property tax revenues the district receives. However, oversight panel for school facilities approval of WC1 bonds is not legally required. So we only have to go to the Debt Management Commission for WC1 general obligation bonds.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Mathers? Okay, we'll go to public comment.
I have none for this item.
Thank you. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion from my distinguished colleagues. Yes, Trustee Ridley.
Yes, Mr. President. I'd like to move that the Board of Trustees adopts Washoe County School District Board Resolution 24-014, a resolution to notify the Debt Management Commission regarding the proposed issuance of up to $200 million in general obligation funds and authorizing officers of the district to take other actions necessary to complete the issuance and related matters.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor from Trustee Woodley to approve item 3.01 with a second of Trustee Nicolette. There's no further comment. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, those opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 3.02. Very similar item. Mr. Mathers is back at the table.
So this is eerily similar to the last agenda item. Again, we're following up on your approval of our 5-year capital improvement program, which not only called for issuance of new WC1 bonds, but also new rollover, what we call rollover bonds. These are bonds, general obligation bonds, again, backed by the full faith and credit of the district, but this time backed by the property taxes we receive through the debt rate on your property tax bill. So the CIP authorized both types of GO bonds. And so this separate action authorizes myself to go to the Debt Management Commission and the Oversight Panel for school facilities, seeking their approval for issuance of $100 million of new GO rollover bond debt. If they approve that, then I would again come back to this Board of Trustees for a bond resolution to actually authorize the debt. So again, you'll see me again, assuming approval by the Debt Management Commission and our Oversight Panel. But again, this is consistent with the CIP you approved this spring. The next page actually just graphically shows you our rollover bond debt. JJ, could you, sorry. Yep. So you can see here, again, we've not assumed really any significant growth of property taxes over the period of 30 years. But you can see we're retiring a great deal of rollover bond debt over the next 10 years. So again, a very comfortable cushion or margin here to be able to afford this debt. And again, I should have said also this $100 million of newly authorized debt would be coupled with $68.5 million of currently authorized debt to again accomplish the next 2 years in our capital improvement program. So if I didn't say it in the last item, this issuance for rollover bonds and the issuance of WC1 bonds will provide funding for 2 years' worth of capital projects. And then we'll come back to you at the end of 2 years for additional authorizations.
Okay.
And so with that, that completes my presentation.
Thank you. Short and sweet, largely a formality. Any clarifying questions for our CFO? Okay. Open it to public comment.
I have no cards for this
Okay.
item.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay. Please, thank you.
The Board of Trustees adopts Washoe County School District Board Resolution 24-015, a resolution to notify the Oversight Panel for School Facilities and the Washoe County Debt Management Commission regarding the proposed issuance of up to $100 million in general obligation bonds and authorizing officers of the district to take other actions necessary to complete the issuance and related matters.
I second.
Okay. Thank you. I got a motion on the floor from Trustee Dr. Nicolette for item 3.02 with a second from Trustee Westlake. If there's no further questions, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, those
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. No opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mathers. Appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you. Super. All right, moving right along. This is fantastic. Item 4, items for presentation. We do have 2 items for presentation. And we will move to item 4.01. This is presentation, discussion, and possible actions on to approve the 2023-24B major projects plan for the fiscal year 2025 capital renewal plan for major repairs and capital renewal projects throughout the district in the amount of $54,700,000 as recommended by the Capital Funding Protection Committee. Tammy Zimmerman is with us, along with Dr. Turner. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Vice President Mayberry. Thank you, guys. Good afternoon. Tammy Zimmerman, Chief Facilities Management Officer, bringing to you the recommendation from the Capital Funding Protection Committee for the 2023-2024B Major Projects Program. It includes 2 items in here, really. It has our capital renewal plan, which is developed through our facility condition index system, through our assessment of the district, all of our building systems throughout the district in all of our buildings. It's done by our assessment team. They go in and look at the ages of all of those, see what's serviceable, what's not serviceable, what has outlived its useful life, what we have leaks on, what we have issues with our work order system. So we have a really robust program to actually identify all of those needs. We do that. We also work with our maintenance and shop supervisors because they are the boots on the ground. So we really like to get their input on that. And then Safe and Healthy Schools Commission. I will be bringing the next set of Safe and Healthy Schools Commission for the single points to them in September after we get the 3 high schools we're doing now and get them open so that we can work through those, look at those, and then get the prioritization for the next set of that from Safe and Healthy Schools Commission. So this is the laundry list of items that you see just about every year, right, from us. It is a total of $50 million. We have the same specific project categories that we've always had. We spread that money out in the same percentages. So we really try to do warm, safe, and dry are our top priorities, right? So we spend a lot of money on roofs, HVAC, and safety and security, as well as carpentry and other items that fit within there, fire alarms and that as well. But we really try to distribute the funds across what are the highest needs in the biggest categories. So you can see that percentage matches about what we had last year. And then the second item on here is the annual technology refresh. Kind of to reorient you guys about that, we have devices that are 6 years old or newer in our schools. We maintain sustainability of them, and we replace them at 20% every year. So we have that cycle of 20% every year. Student devices, same age, 6 years or newer. We replace laptops and iPads 20% per year, but we do it of 80% of student enrollment and then 30% of elementary for those iPads. And then this is the actual request of $4.7 million. It's teacher laptops, student laptops and iPads, and we've added laptop carts in here because we have had such an influx with our grants and FCC grants for laptops that we need a place to store them, charge them, update them, and secure them. So that 1,500 would cover the remainder of the district, so every classroom is anticipated to have a laptop cart. So that's where we come up with the $4.7 million estimated for that. So it's a one-time item on here to actually secure those laptops. So then this is our tally of that you guys get to see all the time when we do our major projects. It is asking for $54.7 million in approval today.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Zimmerman. Dr. Turner, do you have anything to add?
I don't have much
Okay.
to add. I just wanted to say that, draw your attention to, we met the district's needs. There was a request to secure and store and charge laptops. So in response to that request from schools, we adjusted the objectives this year for a one-time purchase of laptop carts.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Ms. Zimmerman or Dr. Turner? Looks like we have from Trustee Nicolai. Go ahead, please.
I don't have a question. I just really want to applaud the district on several levels. The facility condition index system, although it's not flawless, and when I visit schools, every principal, teacher, every parent has a request, and they're all very important and urgent, and yet we have a system that truly works and addresses, it's an index, so it addresses that, priority and top-down. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our Safe and Healthy Schools Commission and our Capital Funding Protection Committee, because without their input, I feel like I wouldn't have all the information I need, because their tentacles reach very far, and they're very caring, they're very smart, they do their homework, and they bring information to you as well as us that we use in our decision-making, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Dye. Trustee Rodriguez.
Thank you. Can you go over that timeline again real quick with the single point entries? You said something about September.
So in September, we plan to come back to Safe and Healthy Schools Commission with a prioritized list for the remainder of the high schools, because we're prototyping Damani Ranch, Sparks High School, and McQueen right now. And so we'll set that prioritization. But within the capital renewal, there are funds set aside to start those designs right away.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. I want to point out, too, Tammy Zimmerman is our Chief Facilities Management Officer, and Chris Turner is our Chief Information Officer. So, for the record, thank you. Any other questions, clarifications for this team? Okay, we'll move to public comment. Any public comment on this item? JJ?
I have no cards for this item.
We'll bring it back to the board. I'm looking for a motion for item 4.01.
If I may. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Board of Trustees approves funding in the amount of $54,700,000 for 2023/2024 B major project programs for projects throughout the district in the amount of $54,700,000 as recommended by the Capital Funding Protection Committee.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor from Trustee Woodley for item 4.01 with a second from Clerk Rodriguez. Seeing no other comments, lights on. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 4.02. This is discussion of possible action to recognize the School Psychologist Association of Washoe, acronym SPAW, as a recognized employee organization and exclusive bargaining representative for the school psychologists in the Washoe County School District. With us today, we have Dr. Scott Barkley, and I understand our Assistant General Counsel, Kevin Pick, will be here momentarily. You want to put that, you want to go in holding pattern, you want to go ahead now? Mr. Pick's on his way in. Good afternoon. Again, we're on item 4.02.
Good afternoon, Vice President Mayberry, Trustees, Interim Superintendent McNeil. I'm Kevin Pick. I'm the district's Labor and Employment General Counsel. With me this afternoon is Dr. Scott Barclay. He's a school psychologist here at the district and the new president of the School Psychologists Association of Washoe. Before I ask Dr. Barclay to introduce himself, as you will remember, in January of 2024, the board accepted the voluntary withdrawal of recognition from the Association of Professional Technical Administrators, or APTA, for the employees that it represents. As a result, school psychologists were left without a recognized exclusive bargaining representative. On or about June 18, 2024, we received an application for recognition from SBAW seeking to be recognized as the bargaining representative for the school psychs. Under NRS 288-160, an employee organization may apply for recognition by presenting the Constitution and bylaws, a roster of its officers, a pledge not to strike. Included in SBAW's request were Constitution and bylaws, a roster of officers, and a pledge not to strike. So at this time, it's our assessment that SBAW's application for recognition is properly before you for consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions, but before that, I want to introduce SBAW President Dr. Scott Barclay.
Hello. Thank you, all trustees, and interim Superintendent McNeil and incoming Superintendent Ernst. I appreciate you all taking the time to hear from us. I guess I'll introduce Nicole Moreno. She is an officer that she's going to be the Secretary Treasurer. And Dr. Bonensteiner was unavailable to be here today because prior engagements. But just wanted to take a minute to thank you all for considering us. As you are acutely aware, we are the remaining employees of Washoe County School District who have not received a cost of living increase. And we don't, like you said, have a contract or negotiated agreement. And so this step will allow us to begin negotiations again and hopefully secure that relatively quickly. So thank you for your time, and we encourage you to please approve. And I'll make myself available for any questions, of course.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Barclay and Mr. Pick. And to you, Mr. Barclay, we're acutely aware of the journey that all of you have been down, and we're grateful for what you do for our students every day. And this gives us a chance to formally recognize our psychologists. So, and then the bargaining process will start. Yeah, so this is not an agreement. It's not a bargaining agreement. This is an agreement to recognize this new association. Correct. Any clarifying questions, comments for Dr. Barclay? I'm sorry, Trustee Church.
Very quickly, I just want to thank you and all your folks for what you do for the mental health of our kids, along with all the other mental health professionals. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Trustee.
Yes, thank you. Ditto. This is definitely a team effort. Every employee has a role and plays an important role. I'm looking at the document that, and I'm really just trying to understand, because although education is in my wheelhouse, collective bargaining is something I am still learning about. And so I'm trying to understand the document where at the very, well, on mine, at the very top, all APTA eligible employees, school psychologist, 41. And then it says number of option 1 votes, number of option 2 votes. Can you explain what the options were?
Absolutely. And I have documentation too if you need it, because I'm always overly crazy like that. So we had 2 separate votes. The first one, it was option 1 or 2, and like you said, option 1 received 32 out of the 41. And that option was school psychologists may seek to, they gave like 3 options. We can, because this is what we had to do, we either form our own organization, we join an existing organization, or we choose to remain unorganized. And so that was lumped into option 1, but we could do one of those 3. Or option 2 was support the current APTA board members and their current legal counsel and regain Washoe School District's recognition as a unit. And so so there was 32 for option 1, and then 4 people voted to remain with APTA and the current representation.
Thank you. Okay. It helps. So in option 1, there were 3 options, A, B, C.
Yeah.
What were the variables for deciding if I'm going to vote? How would I know what the variables within each one of those were?
And so we had staff meetings about those. Basically, the first vote was to see if 42 of us, 41 of us wanted to remain with APTA, who was not recognized. We would have to get APTA recognized as the official bargaining unit, or if we wanted to proceed, or pursue rather, one of those other options. And then, so once that vote came out that we did not want to stay with APTA, then we had a separate vote of which of those do you want to do. So we had a more clarifying vote after that, if that helps answer your question.
And it does. We're getting closer. And thank you for bearing with me.
Oh, no, I appreciate it.
So ultimately, the vote was to create your own unit.
Yeah. And so once the initial vote came in that we did not want to stick with APTA, we wanted to get recognized as a school psychologist group, then we had meetings and discussions, and we narrowed it down to two, to either joining an existing organization or forming our own. We ruled out the third option of remaining unorganized. The majority of our members did not want to do that. They expressed we don't even want to vote on that. And then so we did a second vote of forming our own association or joining, I think we said the principals. Yeah, we said the principals. And that vote was 27 total votes, and 27 people wanted to create our own. And no people voted for joining another association.
All right,
And we
thank
have
you.
documentation if you need.
Okay, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely appreciate
Step by
you.
step, thank you.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Nicolette. Any other comments? We're going to go to public comment.
Andy Haycock.
Is Mr. Haycock in the room? I know we have some folks in the overflow. There he is. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So I am Andy Haycock, one of our district's mental health program administrators. I've spent the last 21 years working as a school counselor, school psychologist. I was a high school Spanish teacher in previous life. I just wanted to speak in support of this. School psychologists are in the forefront as far as mental health, as well as school safety, behavioral threat assessments. We have been through a lot over the last few years, particularly since the pandemic. So I would really encourage the board to consider this, mainly because we're still facing a critical shortage of psychologists in the community, and the representation will be vital. Thank you for your time.
I'll bring it back to the board for any follow-up. If not, I'm happy to entertain a motion for item 4.02.
If I may, Mr. President?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I move that the Board of Trustees recognizes the School Psychologists Association of Washoe as a recognized employee organization and exclusive bargaining representative for school psychologists at the Washoe County School District.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor for item 4.02 from Trustee Woodley with a second from Trustee Nicolette. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. We look forward to working with you. Thank you. Thanks for what you're doing. Okay. We're going to bump up public comment at 6.01, which is where we are at now. I suspect most of you are here for this this item, so welcome. I'm going to set some expectations as we go forward. I want to say that as we begin our general public comment period, I want to make clear that the Washoe County School District values culture of respect and civility where everyone can be heard. That's one of the bedrocks of our great nation. Next week is this country's Independence Day, so I hope that we can all keep that in mind, to be civil, respectful, understand everybody's viewpoints. I want to remind members of our audience that our rules are stated in our agenda. And as the meeting manager, I'm not going to allow disruptions of this meeting to include any profanity or vulgarity or personal attacks, regardless of where they're coming from. I'm going to make that very, very clear. If a speaker goes down that path, I'll give you one warning. And if they continue, I'll recess the meeting. We will leave, and we'll ask you to leave. And respectfully ask that nobody claps. It's a disruption as well. So I don't want to recess the meeting. I really don't. I don't want to ask people to leave, but if that happens, it's up to the speaker. It's not up to me. So please obey our rules. Each speaker has up to 3 minutes. Please address the board, and to avoid any open meeting law issues by exceeding the agenda. And on advice of counsel, this board will not usually engage with speakers, even though at times they may. So I'll just conclude by reminding you that we're adults in this room serving our students. I respectfully ask that we behave like adults, and we'll go ahead and open this up to public comment. JJ. No.
I'm going to be reading 3 names at a time. I'll read them in order because I know we have people in overflow. Pastor John Amanchukua, Karen England, Bree Schmidt.
It's Amanchukwu, and it means I know God. That's what it means. Say it again? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Glad to be here, my friend. I want to read from the book American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. On page 173, this book references vulgarity, that which you spoke about earlier that will be condemned in the school board meeting. But at the end of the day, you all permit vulgarity to be at the fingertips of children. And for you to have a policy that says that in this meeting you're against vulgarity, then that means this board is a hypocrite if you endorse books like this to be in the school system. Number one, it says Christy is on all fours facing the headboard, her ASS raised high in the air, and I'm straddling her back as if I was riding a dog or something, but backward, my knees resting on the mattress, my dick half hard, and I'm facing Sabrina, who is staring into Christy's spread open ASS with a determined expression. Her smile seems tortured, and she's wetting her own lips by fingering herself and tracing her glistening index finger across them, like she's applying lip gloss. With both my hands, I keep Christy's ASS and cunt spread open, and I urge Sabrina to move in closer and sniff them, to sniff her rectum.
Okay. All right, we're gonna adjourn, folks.
I motion for Sabrina to move her face in closer.
Sure, you. And I apologize, I think I said the word adjourned earlier. I meant to say recess. So for the record, we recessed the meeting, we're coming back. Look, I know there's a lot of passion in the room. I appreciate that. But excuse me, this is my time, okay? This is a business meeting of the Washoe County School Board. There's a lot of people that want to be heard. The last thing I want to do is adjourn this meeting without everybody wanting to be heard. It is a violation of the law to interrupt this meeting. And we'll do this again, my friends. If you have a book that you want to protest, that's okay. Just you can't disrupt the meeting with profanity and vulgarity, period. I will not allow it. We'll do it again, okay? So, ma'am, please, again, I won't hesitate to remove those that make a disruption. We're going to go back to public comment. JJ.
Karen England, Bree Schmidt, Jessica Munger.
Hello, Miss England. Welcome. Thank you for making the trip up here to our community.
Absolutely. So I love that you have your little rules, but they don't trump the U.S. Constitution. And you are allowed to have vulgar or words that you, Adam, don't like. I'm allowed to say words that you don't like or that you find obscene. As a matter of fact, there's an exemption that covers this school board meeting where obscenity can take place. So again, as much as I love your rules, it doesn't trump the Constitution. And the U.S. Supreme Court ruled very specifically, and Neil, I know you worked at the AG's office, the U.S. Supreme Court puts the onus on a school board to remove things that are not educationally suitable or pervasively vulgar. It was the Pico case. You cannot remove something because of political ideology, but you can remove pervasively vulgar. Do you have Playboys in the school? I'm going to do another reading. This happens to be in 10 schools, including one middle school. And so this is endorsed by you, the school board, who has the authority to remove any of this. So if you don't like it, instead of getting mad at people that are reading this, you ought to be mad at the people that bought these books and are assigning them to the children. Have you done any of that research in the last year? All right. Identical. Can't exactly remember why, only that we didn't expect her to come home until very late. It was dark in our room, velvety black. Someone had closed the curtain. Kaylee was scared. I tried to tell her not to worry, but just then Daddy burst through the door. I closed my eyes tight, made myself no more than a shadow. Something about him was different. I didn't want that something to find me. I cracked my eyes just a slit as he sat on Kaylee's bed, pulled her into his lap. He smelled of brute and wild turkey, his peculiar potpourri. I love you so much, my little flower. Daddy needs something from my girl, my sweet rose. Will you give it to me? I wanted to be his little flower, would have given Daddy anything. What did he want from Kaylee? She laid her head on his chest and said, "What? I want you to see something that proves how much I love you. This is only for you, Kaylee." He lifted her gently, sat her down on the bed beside him, and he opened the snaps on the fly of his flannel pajamas. It stood up. "See how much Daddy loves you? Show me you love me too. Touch it." He closed her hand around it. "I know it sounds bad, but I wanted to touch it too. I didn't know what it meant, only that it made Daddy happy. Happy, I wanted to make him happy too. That's right, his voice rocked in rhythm with his body. Oh yes, my Kaylee loves me, my little flower. This is in 10 schools, including Incline Middle School. It's checked out currently. You are complicit in these rape scenes and incest scenes, and if you don't do something about this and get it removed, you're just as bad as the perverts.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, next. Cut.
Bree
No clapping.
Schmidt, Jessica Munger, Susan Steek.
Hi, Bree Schmidt for the record, lifelong Reno resident and Washoe County School District graduate. I also work as a program associate for Silver State Equality, Nevada's statewide LGBTQ+ civil rights organization. Thank you to the school board for hearing my public comment today. I'd like to issue a content warning for my comment as I will be discussing the loss of life of students due to suicide. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for kids 10 to 14. It is the third leading cause of death for those who are 15 to 18. But LGBTQ plus kids are 4 times as likely to die from suicide when compared to their peers. The Trevor Project estimates that more than 1.8 million LGBTQ plus young people ages 13 to 24 seriously consider suicide each year in the U.S., and at least one attempts suicide every 45 seconds. It's been 45 seconds since I started my comments, so that's one student that's attempted suicide. In your packet that you just received, you will find the following statistics about Nevada's LGBTQ plus youth. This is a survey of LGBTQ plus youth living in Nevada that we performed at the end of last year. 38.7% of LGBTQ plus students say they do not feel secure at school. 79.4% reported having experienced discrimination from those in authority for their LGBTQ plus identity. Trans and non-cisgender students experience an even higher rate of discrimination than cisgender students. 60% of students surveyed about bullying have been teased by peers for being LGBTQ plus within the last 6 months. 49% have been deliberately excluded by peers within the last 6 months. We are privileged in Washoe County to have a comprehensive gender care policy under Administrative Regulation 5161. I would also like to note that's another 45 seconds. That's another student who's attempted suicide. Transgender and non-binary young people attempt suicide less when their pronouns are respected, when they are allowed to officially change the gender marker on their legal documents, and when they have access to safe spaces online, at school, and at home that affirm their gender identity. The suicide attempt rate is halved when students have access to gender-affirming spaces. Even one affirming adult drastically lowers the suicide rate. Today you're hearing from a lot of people, some of whom are out of state, some of whom who don't have students in the school district, who are creating this manufactured outrage about a system that already works for most of our students and families. They are creating a big panic about LGBTQ plus people in literature instead of working to solve real problems in our school district. Our school district needs help, our students need help. If the school district truly cares for their students, if the school board truly cares for their students, then they will not give in to anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric when it asks them to sacrifice children's lives. Because by banning books and trying to reverse gender protective policies, that is what these anti-LGBTQ plus extremists are asking you to do. Sacrifice LGBTQ plus students' lives for the sake of their ideal world. That's another 45 seconds. That's another student that's attempted suicide. I trust that this school board will choose to stand on the right side of history and work to make Washoe County a safe space for every student, so that every 45 seconds, maybe a student will decide to ask for help instead of attempting to end their life. That's a fourth one. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Schmidt.
Jessica Munger, Susan Stieg, Richard Davis.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm sure it's a hard and difficult one for you. My name is Jessica Munger, M-U-N-G-E-R. I'm representing Silver State Equality, a Nevada statewide LGBTQ plus civil rights organization. I'm also a resident of Reno and a parent of a young child. We are here today with many members of the Reno community because we learned that there would be a national out-of-state organization arriving to create a scene here in our city. I encourage you not to be distracted by the manufactured outrage stirred by these extremists and to remember that Nevada is a live and let live state, and Washoe County School District is directly responsible for every student, every face, every name until graduation. You're not accountable to the extremists, who most of which don't have students in Washoe County School District or are from out of state. You are, however, responsible for the scholars in our school district, to support them, to create a safe learning environment in this district where all students can thrive. I am disappointed but not surprised that the wave of extremist political action has reached our Nevada, which I feel will worsen the problems our students are facing and have very real consequences. Many of the comments you hear today are thinly veiled, politically motivated attack on the LGBTQ plus community. You can tell by the laughter. These people hate me. Our trained educators, librarians, and administrators in Washoe County are to be respected. I encourage you to ignore those using our children for political opportunity and rather to listen to the students and parents of Washoe County when they loudly say that they want to keep books on shelves and keep protecting the rights and freedoms of all students and families. People who are not involved in this city, in this district, who don't have children who will be educated in this district, and who are advancing a national political agenda should not disrupt school board business over items that are not on the agenda or even on the table for discussion. They are irrelevant. Your duty is to our students and parents, so thank you so much for the work that you do for them. Thank you for serving every student in Washoe County and the diverse families that make up our district and our state. And please let us know how we can help you in supporting you protecting the rights of all students and family in Washoe County. Thank you.
Thank you. And just, my friends, please, please, I know we can do better. Let's all be respectful of the different viewpoints that we have in this chamber. Please, please stop the division. Let everybody be heard. Please. JJ?
Susan Stieg, Richard Davis, Catherine Clemens.
My name is Susan Stieg. I am a parent and a grandparent of children that go to Washoe County schools. I work in a library. I don't work. I volunteer in a library. And I just want to read an excerpt, several, from a book called Tricks, written by Ellen Hopkins. And this is found in Academy of Arts Career and Technology High School, Hug High School, McQueen High School, North Valley High School, Spanish Springs High School, and Sparks High School. And I will try not to use any profanity. Is sex a profanity? Sex that is more than mutual masturbation. Individual masturbation was the bulk of my sexual experience. There were a few short chapters of touch here, I'll touch you there, in my very slim book of adolescent sexual escapades, but nothing more. I had no idea what to do beyond that. When I slipped into my fantasies, I always had sex with men, but that day, overwhelmed as I was with desire for Lauren. That was on page 108. We skipped to page 152. We had sex the very first night we went out together. Pissed off a bunch of people. Page 207, 208, 209, 210, 218, 219. I could go on, but I'm going to skip to page 291. I totally wanted to pop your cherry. You were my first virgin, and you'll probably be my last, because, sorry, but virgin's sex really isn't very good. F you. One more gulp, and I repeated back to him, F you. Page 371. He unpacks his gear, then checks me out, all up and down. Take off your bra and panties. Okay. We want a glimpse, a hint of what's under all that white. I do as instructed. Allow Bryn to position me exactly the way he wants. He sits me, skirt tucked provocatively between both of my legs, and when he goes about to move my arms, his hand brushes against the fabric covering my breasts. My nipples go hard immediately. Do you get the impression of what is in our books? I have 12 more seconds. Please, just take these out of the schools. Just take them out.
Richard Davis, Catherine Clemens, Cindy Griffin.
Folks, there's some noise that we're picking up. I don't know if somebody's watching something or listening to something. If you can turn the volume down on that or leave the chamber. It's out in the hallway, wherever it is, but I know it's a distraction to all of us. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. It takes a village. Thank you. Is this on? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, cool. My name is Richard Davis, and I live in Sparks. My concern today is for the safety and well-being and education of our children. That being said, I'll just cut to the chase. We're in a war. It's not the war between the Board of Education and a bunch of unhappy parents, although that does exist. The real war is between good and evil, and more specifically, between God and Satan. Satan hates God. He would love to destroy him, but he can't. However, he can destroy those things that God cherishes. And the top of that list is our children. And next are the institutions that God has created, the institutions of marriage, the family, the church, our government, and our schools. Satan has been attacking all of these for a very long time. And all you have to do is look around you, and we got it today, and you see the total chaos that exists in our countries today. It's time we start to recognize the source of this chaos and to fight back. There are many areas in our schools where Satan has impacted our children and our teachers. And to name a few of these areas, pornography in our schools, gender identity, bullying, lack of discipline, violence against school teachers, drug and alcohol abuse, lack of transparency. We need to examine these areas and take a closer look at how effective our current policies are in dealing with these issues. Perhaps we need to look at them through a different lens, the lens of God's Word. In all the chaos and confusion bombarding us every day, where do you seek to find the truth regarding issues about which you must make a decision? If you truly want to do what is best for our children, seek God's way. Pray. Turn to the Scriptures. Seek the advice of godly friends. And if you don't have any, I can recommend a lot of them to you if you wish. And by the way, you have every constitutional right to do all of this. There's nothing preventing you from praying at school, this sort of thing. Jesus Christ also tells us that he is the way, the truth, and the life. He doesn't lie. So I guess the bottom line is, the real questions you should be asking yourselves is, whose work am I doing? God's or Satan's? That decision is yours. God bless you all.
Thank you for helping, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
Catherine Clemens,
Thank you.
Cindy Griffin, Joni Hammond.
All right. My name is Catherine Clemens. I'm a citizen of Reno with grandchildren in the public school system. I have a bachelor's degree with a major in theology and a minor in psychology. I am very concerned about the books that I have previewed that my grandchildren will have access to. I currently have a 7-year-old at Roy Gom, and she is, of course, she's a first grader, but she's reading at a third grade level. So pretty soon she'll be looking in older sections of the library, the school library, and I'm concerned that she'll find things that are very inappropriate. Obviously, children are going to stumble upon things like this. I'm sure we all stumbled upon Playboy magazines, but to consciously sexualize our children is very dangerous. The SHARE curriculum teaches the children to think about it and refer to males and females as persons with sexual organs. I mean, I think that's really awful to reduce a child's understanding of male and female as just sexual organs. So I'm just very concerned about that and the effect of society. When you have sexualized children, they are vulnerable to pedophiles, and girls are going to get pregnant. It means they're not going to get the education that they could have, and they'll live in more poverty than they could have. So this is really a serious cultural problem. And so I wonder why, especially when our state ranks near the very bottom of education in the United States, and only 46% of the Washoe County graduates are at or above proficiency levels in language arts, and only 32% of graduates are proficient in math. Why? There isn't a lot more focus on that and a lot more concern that the children have better understandings of themselves and how valuable they are, and that they're a lot more valuable than their sexual parts or their sexual lives. You just think that they need to be protected. That's what I'm very concerned about. So please protect our children. Remove books that are inappropriate from the libraries. If they go to the public library, that's a different story. If they're in the school library, they can just stumble upon them and their parents will never know. But in the public library, it's a little different, and they're older, then they can get there by themselves. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Friends, I'm going to address clamping one more time. I can't have it for a lot of reasons. It's disruptive, and it's also intimidating for those that may have opposing viewpoints. So as a compromise, if you want to put your hands up in the air, wave your hands, that's fine. I'm okay with that. That's fine. But please don't clap. Let's just be respectful, okay? Thank you. But JJ?
Cindy Griffin, Joni Hammond, Charles Elliott. Joni Hammond, Charles Elliott, Cliff Nellis.
Good afternoon, I'm Joni Hammond. I'm pretty disgusted with you today. You get up and walk out because someone's reading a book that children have access to. I don't understand it. Many of you are parents and grandparents. I don't understand it. I don't know why you're not concerned about this. I don't know why I have to stand up and read this to you. I don't want to read it. I don't want to hear it. And I certainly don't want children to hear it. This book is called Jack of Hearts. It's in at least Reed High School. Dear Jack of Hearts, my boyfriend really wants to do anal. We've been together for a few months, and I totally love him.
That's once, ma'am. Miss Hammond, that's once.
It's not like we're virgins, but I'm nervous about the butt sex. Does it hurt? Is it even fun for girls? Should I just do it to make him happy? Ben isn't a big slut like me. For one, there aren't many large, hairy men willing to have sex with a teenage high schooler, and though I can pass for barely legal, Ben's round baby face makes him look like a serious jailbait. But also, he's shy with boys. I respect that. Just because I like sex and I have a decent amount of it doesn't mean everyone else should. Dear bad feminist. Okay, so the first thing you need to ask yourself is, do you want to smack women during sex who consent or not? The idea of someone genuinely saying, please don't hurt me, and you're hurting them, then you should probably go talk to a shrink about that. But if you want to role play with a partner who says, please don't hurt me, but has told you beforehand exactly what they're into, face slapping, spanking, handcuffs, whatever, and has a safe word for when you go too far, then that's perfectly fine. Kinky. BDSM sex can be fun. I've never gone quite this far as you want to, but I've used handcuffs, blindfolds, engaged in some light spanking, and oh no, please don't hurt me, role play. The most intense it got with a guy I met on Grindr. He was a bit older, but I didn't ask how much older. Before we met up, we talked about what he wanted to do and what I liked and didn't. We set boundaries. Then we met up, he tied me to the bed, blindfolded me, and I pretended I had woken up like this and didn't know what was happening. That was his fantasy, and I was pretty into it. He told me I was his now, and I was going to be his slave. It was pretty hot. He straddled my chest, made me suck him off, and flipped me and spanked me a little. Then he said he was going to paddle me. I said yellow to that. The spanking was fun, but bringing a paddle into it sounded too intense. But yellow means slow down, not stop, so we went back to spanking me, to which I said green, and then he effed me.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Next.
Charles Elliott, Cliff Nellis, Janet Butcher.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Charles Elliott, for the record. I'm a lifelong resident of Sparks, Nevada. I have children that were raised in the school system here. Excuse my voice. I have grandchildren that are currently and have been educated in Washoe County. And now I have 2 great-grandchildren that will ultimately, unless I can get them to get into homeschooling, be educated into Washoe County. I am just totally disappointed in each and every one of you for being childish enough to get up and walk out because of some obscenity that you guys allow in each and every one of our schools. I was very happy to see that now we have an organization of psychologists that are you guys are going to pay, that are going to take care of the school, which I think should be enlarged by maybe 2 to 3 times, for the simple reason you guys are causing our children to be exposed to something that is going to open up Pandora's box. I'm also want to address the LGBTQ, and I don't know all of the things that go on the end of it. Those people we do not hate. I don't hate anyone. I am a Christian. I love them. I pray for them. I think it's horrible that they have succumbed to this sin, but we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. I love them, and I want to continue to hope and pray for their best. Now, it just amazes me that you guys in this school, we are the last one in the nation. My Washoe County that I was raised in, little Sparks, Nevada, 65 grad of Sparks High School. My God, we had it made. A bunch of Italians and Basque and crap. It was great, beautiful little town. Now it's gone to hell, literally gone to hell. I'm reading from a book. Jesse Andrews decided to put this thing together, huge, called The Haters. It's in Hug High, McQueen High, North Valleys, Reed High, Reno High, and Spanish Springs High. Now, Adam, please help me with obscenity, okay? So you gavel me whenever you see or hear some stuff that I shouldn't. On page 101, real quick, it was definitely my boner. So immediately I was wide awake and consumed with pain. Fortunately, no one was awake to stare in disgust at the lucky jailbreak. You betcha.
Cliff Nellis, Janet Butcher, Nikki Berman.
Cliff Nellis, 45-year resident of Washoe County. I have 4 daughters who were born here, and they were educated here, and they were also homeschooled and private schooled. And I have 2 grandchildren that are here. One goes to St. Albert's. And I've been given a book to read from. This is called Damsel. This is in the let's see, it's in Galena High, Hug High, McQueen High, North Valleys, and then 2 of them are in Reed. So, but before I read this, I want to talk to you guys about something. People that go LGB are going against human nature. Now you can add to that against God, but you don't have to be a believer in God. They're going against nature. That's why they have these conflicts and they want to commit suicide. It has nothing to do with anyone disapproving of their behavior. And they cannot be happy until they stop doing what they're doing. And you guys have allowed this group of people to control our education system. So, I mean, you're not listening to us very clearly, not. So can we have two school systems? We got all this tax money, an extra $400 million, it was $1 billion, now you got $1.4 billion with WC1, and what are you guys using this money for? Just to build buildings when you can't even keep order in your schools. And you're allowing a radical group to come in and sexualize our children. It's very clear from the readings that this is going on. There is a war against traditional American culture. And there is no way that traditional American culture can cohabitate this planet with people who pervert themselves. They become predators, and they will be coming after our children until we stop them, and we're trying to stop them. There needs to be one of you guys around one of these homosexual people because they can't control their sexual desires. Do you want all of our children to be that way? No. So I'm reading from this book, page 17. Then, knowing the dragon was watching, he unbuttoned the front of his trousers in Frida's yard and pissed a streaming scream right there on the top of the cliff. So there's one. I mean, I'm not sure if this is really making any difference to you guys. How many seconds? I got 27 seconds? Why don't you reach into your heart, listen to the people of the community, and realize we need solutions. Okay? We need real solutions, and stop ignoring us and walking out on us. This is just ridiculous.
Okay, thank you. JJ?
Janet Butcher, Nikki Berman, Sandy Tibbet.
Janet Butcher, for the record, please enter my comments into the minutes verbatim. Let me first start off by addressing the accusations perpetrated by several elected officials. They have put out for the media to repeat and report that they are harassed and continually receive death threats against them and or their families. They have yet to supply the receipts for such claims. Trying to play the victim for sympathy without proof is a slap in the face of those who truly are victims. And I'd like to say suicide happens in all kinds of families, whether you're straight, gay, or not. My grandfather committed suicide, I had a nephew commit suicide, and I had a great nephew commit suicide. So suicides do happen. First of all, we're asking to protect children is not political. We're asking for the porn to be taken out. I have a book, The Bluest Eye. It happens to be in 12 high schools, and it is in Mendive, which is a middle school. I destroyed white baby dolls, but the dismembering of dolls was not the true horror. The truly horrifying thing was the transference of the same impulses to little white girls. The indifference with which I could have axed them was shaken only by the desire to do so. We want our junior high children reading this? You want to go up to Mr. Henry's room and look for his girly magazines? Instead, we saw Mr. Henry with two women in a playful manner, the way grandmothers do with babies. He was sucking the fingers in one of the women. Then he lift his head, turn over, and put his hand on my waist. If I don't move, he'll move his hand over to pull and knead my stomach, soft and slow. I wonder if you guys are appalled at it, or if you get off on the idea that children are reading this kind of crap. Thank you.
Nikki Berman, Sandy Tibbet, Amy Peltican.
Hello, trustees and interim Superintendent McNeil. I'm going to read my statement today, as when I spoke at a prior meeting, the galley's noises, comments, gestures were very distracting and intimidating. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. My name is Nikki Berman, and I am here today as a parent of a current Washoe County student and a school district librarian. I would like to reflect on the recent primary election and the message sent by the voters to elect fair-minded representation to our school board. The narrative being shared by a minority group that's very loud is not the voice of our parents and voters. I've already heard, oh, it must have been rigged. This is evident in those who were voted in, and those who were voted out. The things being said about my profession is vile. I can assure you the only thing I'm grooming is my hair. Restricting access to books is a form of banning. Parents have every right to determine what is appropriate for their children to read, and we have processes in place to assure their values and requests are met and followed. We do not need folks from out of the area choosing books for every child to read. I find the signs appalling, asking to protect children. Protect them from what? Me? I would suggest this group turn their attention to the internet and social media, because unfortunately, more and more students are spending a heck of a lot more time scrolling and reading on their phones, not books in libraries. I know I'm not going to be popular with this last statement, but if you want to protect children from porn, take their phones away, not their library books.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next.
Sandy Tibbet, Amy Peltican, Marie Rodriguez.
Superintendent Ernst, are you going to do something about these books when you take that chair? You have control over this, as long as, and the school board does too. We don't want this in the schools. Are you okay with these books being
Ms.
in the schools?
Tibbetts, please address the board.
I am
Okay,
addressing-
that's the rules. No,
Yes.
address the board, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Is the board going to do anything about it? I have a policy right here that outlines perfectly what you guys could do in order to remove these books from our school district. It's really simple. You can get this crap at the public library, and if the parents want their kids to get it, they can go to the public library to get it. So even poems are dirty, rotten. So this book, Collected Poems by Allen Ginsberg, it is located in Spanish Springs High School. We're going to start with page 271. I come in the ass of my beloved. I lie back with my cock in the air to be kissed. I prostrate my sphincter with my eyes in the pillow. My legs are thrown up over your shoulder. I feel your buttocks with my hand. A cock throbs. I lie still.
Ms.
My
Tibbetts,
mouth
that's
in my
twice.
ass.
Okay.
I kiss the hidden mouth. I have a third eye. I paint the pupils on my palm and an eyelash that winks. Page 303, belly to belly and knee to knee. the hot spurt of my body, to thee, old boy, dreamy Earl, you Prince of Patterson, now king of me, lost Hollidan, first dream that made me take down my pants. I inspect my naked victims chained upside down, my fingertips thrill approval on their thighs, white hairless cheeks I may kiss all I want at my mercy. On the racks, I pass my strong attendants, I myself naked, bending down with my buttocks out for their smacks of reproval. Oh, the heat of desire. Page 432, soft stirring shoots through breast to belly. What romance planned by the body unconscious? What can I shove up my ass? Masturbation in America. Light spasm delight. Prick head getting bigger. Thumb and index fingers slowly stroking along cock sides. Askew cupped in the hand. Serpent reptile prick head moving in and out its meat nest. This is so nasty. Turn and watch the landscape. Wave my baton at the passing truck driver. Lie back on the bunk and lift this shade a bit. Enjoy sun on my flagpole.
Okay, thank you.
Amy Peltican, Marie Rodriguez, Debbie Steers.
Hi, Board. I'm Amy Peltakian. I'm a Washoe County voter. I'm a grandmother, and I've got a grandchild in this county district. So I want to first respond to the comments that have been made about us as a collective group, that we're haters and we're aggressive and we're all these things and extremists. None of that has been shown today. We've got hundreds of parents and grandparents here outraged. I could see when the absolute disgusting content was being read to all of you, you couldn't even look us in the eye because it's so disgusting to you too, I imagine. So what we want to know is how many books are going to be removed. I was sexually abused as a child. Can you imagine the children that you're betraying by letting this filth remain in the schools? Maybe they're being sexually abused by a family member like I was. Maybe they're coming to school and then reading this and going, hey, maybe what somebody's doing to me is okay. This is Washoe County approved. This is board approved content that you've heard here today. I just can't imagine that as Americans, as parents, as grandparents, as aunts and uncles, that any of this is okay to any of you. You've got to remove it from the libraries. This is mental rape of children. It changes them. It changes them for their entire life. They are never the same. They have to go through therapy. They have to go through, I had to go into a heroin recovery house when I was 16 years old so I could go charge the people that abused me and my sisters. Don't let this kind of crap remain. It's on your watch, sir. It's on your watch, sir. Everyone here is responsible, and this is Washoe County approved. What I understand in Washoe County, because I'm relatively new here, is sadly we have the lowest academic record in the nation. Isn't that outrageous to all of you? Why do these people have to recruit my grandchild? My grandchild has to read this crap? Why don't they go recruit their own children to whatever they want to do? They don't need to recruit my child, my grandchild, or anybody else's in our congregation or anybody else's in the county. Protect all children. None of this should be okay. This book, Traffic, is in Galena, Hug, Incline, North Valley, Reed High School, Reno, Spanish Sparks. So it's not going to be any different than what you've just been listening to. This is mental rape of children that will fundamentally change them. And no, I don't want my child recruited to an ideology that has a higher suicide rate. That's what you heard today. I mean, would I want them recruited? No, absolutely not. And that's not me being anti-LGBT whatever. It's not. I have a right, by God, I have a right as a parent to protect my grandchild. So each one of you have to report back to us because we pay as taxpayers the building. I think we pay for the security guards and everything. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you for your comments, ma'am.
Marie Rodriguez.
Please, no comments.
Debbie Steers. Kristen Ryan.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Marie Rodriguez for the record. I am sorry that this statement is even necessary. Most of what has been commented on so far isn't even on the agenda. The topics in these books, which are being brought before you today, have been in libraries for over 40 years. I remember seeing topics like this in books that I checked out when I was in high school in Texas. It's not new. And it's also readily available on the internet, as we all know. And it's also in the Christian Bible. I'm sure anybody who has read any of the Bible or knows Bible stories knows about Lot and his 2 daughters and how he became a father, uncle, and grandfather to his own children. In protecting our students, and even far more important, what's even far more important than what they might read in a book, if a parent is failing to pay attention to what their child is reading, is bullying. How do children learn to bully? Often by example. And what I have been witnessing for the past several years at local board meetings, the library board, the county commissioners, and here, feels like bullying to me. It was pretty much admitted to in a recent television news story. And I know what bullying looks like and feels like because I was bullied in school. Many here have identified themselves as Christian, and like most Hispanics, I was raised Christian and Catholic, and I have actually read and studied the Bible. I do not consider the disrespect and disregard towards this board that some have displayed here as Christ-like. I'm going to quote from a book more controversial than any of the ones mentioned here today. All of you must obey the government rulers. No one rules unless God has given him the power to rule. And no one rules now without that power for God. So if anyone is against the government, he is really against what God has commanded. And so he brings punishment to himself. Those who do right do not have to fear the rulers, but people who do wrong must fear them. Do you want to be unafraid of the rulers? Then do what is right, and the ruler will praise you. He is God's servant to help you. Show respect and honor to them all. Since we are addressing children's book, that was taken from the Greek text at Romans 13 from the International Children's Bible. Instead of debating books, let's protect our children by teaching them valuable social skills such as mutual respect, diplomacy, and grace, rather than setting a poor example of anger, pettiness, and intimidation.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
Debbie Steers, Kristen Ryan, John England.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Spears.
Hello, I'm Debbie Steers, Collection Development Manager of Washoe County Library System and proud mother of 3 Washoe County School District graduates and former school district librarian. I come before you today to applaud your advocacy of parents' rights in their children's education. Your district policy ensures that it is individual parents who have the right to restrict what their children read. Within the existing district framework, parents already have the ability to choose which materials they will or won't allow their children to read. Your website says that every school in our district provides students with opportunities to explore, question, develop, and test new ideas to provide them with 21st century skills that will help them in future success. That's exactly what the titles we're talking about today do. I've read each of the 14 titles that have been challenged in the school district. 13 of those same titles were challenged at Washoe County Library System. As I read these books, I didn't find obscenity or pornography, as your challengers claim. Instead, I read stories of young people grappling with life's big issues. What does it mean to try to achieve the American dream when you belong to an immigrant family? What kind of devastating consequences might come from making dangerous choices? How do I figure out who I am in the world? How do I turn to my faith in times of need? It is your responsibility to help students develop the skills needed to navigate the world they enter when they graduate. Reading provides a safe way for young people to explore the world around them and to begin to imagine their own place in the world. Some months back, Trustee Church invited concerned community members to engage in a conversation about controversial books and school libraries. Mr. Church invited a high school student to come and speak to the group who had assembled. Most of us were beyond the age of having our own children in schools. We were more concerned with today's students and our grandchildren in the schools. So when one of the attendees asked this high school student for his input, what do you think about these books that are being talked about and stirring up so much controversy? The student replied, "The Heroine Diaries. It's a book none of you would much approve of, but it literally saved my life. Because of that book, I have been able to become sober, and today I celebrate a year of sobriety." Please recognize books save lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Steers. Next comment.
Kristen Ryan, John England, Brooke M. Westlake.
Good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Kristen Ryan. I'm a parent. I have 2 children at McQueen High School, and I am speaking here to against the removal of books in our schools. Representation matters, and everyone in our community needs to see themselves in the books they read. I grew up in Reno. I also a McQueen graduate. I was a struggling kid. My home life was traumatic and similar, not as the same thing as our previous speaker, but it was a traumatic life. And the books that were provided to me by my school district were not representative of my life. These so-called appropriate, wholesome books made me feel embarrassed and ashamed of what I was going through at my house. Because my life was not even close to these wholesome books. It wasn't until middle school where I discovered their representation. I found books that represent my life as a kid and what I was going through. Without these books, they would have made me still feel shame. I felt that I wasn't alone because of these books. Seeing myself was in these books that are being read to you today at the school board. Those books changed my life. They were the most impactful things that happened to me in the school. These books turned me from a reluctant reader to a voracious reader, and now to I work in the public library connecting youth to books that appeal to them. As a parent with children in Washoe County School District, I want my children to have books with diverse perspectives. I want them to be reading different ideas and backgrounds. With these ideas and backgrounds, make them more empathetic to everyone around them. They understand people and their different perspectives, and they don't judge them. By removing these books, you are sending the message to students who see themselves in these books that there is something wrong or shameful about who they are or who their family might be. Banning books does more harm than it does good. Please put your political ideologies aside and think about every member of our diverse community before making the decision to remove these books. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
John England, Brooke M. Westlake, Cherie Winters.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to pray over the board. Dear Heavenly Father, I am so grateful to be here today because this is a school district that I went to, and I hope that during what I have to say, during what everybody has to say, that eyes and ears are open. Amen. Please enter my comments into the record verbatim. My name is Brooke Westlake. I am not related to Colleen Westlake. I've been a member of this community for 36 years. I'm a prodigy of Roger Corbett, Vaughn Middle School, and Worcester High School. I'm a proud graduate from the University of Nevada, Reno with 3 degrees, including a master's in criminal justice. And to watch what has happened with my own children in this district on my taxpayer dollars, on everybody's taxpayer dollars, on the stuff that is in the schools is unacceptable. We come today in peace to read the books that are in front of my children, your children, and all of our children. I have a book coming out. It's called Lipstick on Pigs, The Transdemic. Think it'll make it into the Washoe County school system or the library here locally? As Moms for Liberty says, each of us has our First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech. Write the book, print the book, sell the book. That's fine. But what you are not supposed to be doing is sexualizing our children, period. Why is this in front of my son, who is 14 years old? This book right here. North Valleys High School, Reed High School, Spanish Springs, and Pine Middle School. It's called Push. I want to reemphasize what Trustee Mayberry said earlier. You said you don't want to hear profanity, then why is my 14-year-old reading this? Why are your daughters reading this garbage in our schools? Print the book, write the book. It goes in a rated R section. It doesn't go in our school district. Page 7, white cunt box got my file on her desk. I see it. I ain't that late to lunch. She looks at me like I want to suck a dog's dick or some shit. What was that?
I said you're pushing the envelope, Ms. Westlake.
I'm
That's
pushing
a
the
warning.
envelope as freedom of speech on my First Amendment right. I am entitled to speak in front
Obey
of
the
this board.
rules and you can continue.
Then why, if I obey the rules, how come the rules work for all of you guys but don't work for my child who's 14? Why do you feel it's okay to sexualize everybody's children? Do you have an answer for that? You have kids in the district. You should be ashamed of yourself right now. Absolutely ashamed. And you guys pick and choose who you can clap for and who you can't clap for. That's not how any of this works. If you guys don't like your job, quit. It is a tough job. I get that. But at the end of the day, you all are not doing your job.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker.
Cherie Winters, Craig Dyson, Mandy Morrison.
Good afternoon.
And thank you guys for having me today and for allowing us to express our opinions on these books. And for me, it's personal, as my daughter went through middle school here and high school here, and she was at Mendive Middle and thought that she was gay for a long time. And the indoctrination that was pushed upon her through the schools, it was like every day I was trying to battle a fight against her and against the schools. And so this has nothing to do with the LGBTQ community. This is just indoctrination against our children. These books, I wouldn't even want to read them. This book in particular, called Lovely Bones, is about a little girl who's being raped basically by her teacher. How is that okay to be put in our books and our children to have to read that? And this book is in Clayton Middle, DePauli Middle, Dilworth Middle, and the middle school is where they have, they're finding themselves, where this is the most impactful years of their lives. They should be reading books about our history, reading, writing, and math, not about their sexual connotations or orientation. And this one is actually in Mount Rose Elementary School as well. And I'm going to read on page 11. After he said, "You are very pretty, Susie." "Thanks," I said, though he gave me and my friend the skivvies. "Do you have a boyfriend?" "No, Mr. Harvey," I said. I swallowed the rest of my Coke, which was a lot. "I gotta go, Mr. Harvey. This is a cool place, but I gotta go." I don't think you know. You're not leaving. I talked so that he would get the knowledge that I had to go. Harvey is no character. He made me feel skivvy and icky now that he was blocking the door. "Mr. Harvey, I have to go home." "Take off your clothes." "What?" "Take off your clothes," Mr. Harvey said. I want to check and see if you still have a vagina. I am, Mr. Harvey, I said, I want...
Ma'am, that's a warning.
Okay. So see, this, you wouldn't want your child to hear this. This is inappropriate. I don't even want to be reading this. But this is what they have in the schools. This is what children can read. I want to make sure you, like I said, your parents will thank me. My parents, they only want good girls, he said. Mr. Harvey, I said, please, let me leave. You're not leaving, Susie. You're mine now. I fought hard. I fought as hard as I could. I couldn't stop him. Mr. Harvey hurt me. He fought back as hard as he could, and it was not enough. And as soon as...
Okay, thank you for your comments, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Craig Dyson, Mandy Morrison, Chris Knox.
My name is Craig Dyson. Thank you for being here today. I'm the lead pastor of Convo Church here in Reno. To the members of the board, please know that we do pray for you, and not with spite, but with sincere hearts. We want God to show you how to lead in the roles where He's given you the opportunity to lead, and to do so with a heart that desires to please God and not please people. Many of us here today have a clear message for the board, and it's simply this: remove the perversion and the sexual grooming and indoctrination from our schools. Hold the people accountable who are responsible, or have yourselves held accountable. We the people have had enough of fringe, degenerate outliers, LGBTQ activists, drag queen story hour promoters, pulling the puppet strings of weak and feckless community servant leaders. You, however, are here with an opportunity to build a legacy for our children that restores wholesome education, or build a legacy of tumbleweed that gets blown about by the wind of broken, demonic, sexual culture. From God's Word, just to read a book, since we're reading books today, Isaiah chapter 5 gives you and gives all of us this warning: what sorrow for those who say that evil is good and good is evil, that dark is light and light is dark, that bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. What sorrow for those who are wise in their own eyes and think themselves so clever. Jesus Christ says in his own words in Luke 17:2, it would be better to be thrown into the sea with a stone hung around your neck than to cause one of these little ones to fall into sin. This responsibility falls on this board. Get the perversion and the perverts out of our schools, away from our children. I believe that the voice of truth is beginning to get louder and louder in our state, and we're also seeing it happen across the nation. I believe that change is coming in a good way, but I also know I can see the signs of the time. And without changing in a way that leads to repentance, that brings us to a place where we're protecting and guarding our children, it's also going to usher in the judgment of God. So I strongly encourage each of you, again, remove the perversion, remove the sexual grooming, and the indoctrination from our schools. Continue to think about the kids that I believe each and every one of you loves and cares about, which is why you're on this board. So now you have an opportunity to look at some of the challenges that we face that are being brought up today and make choices that are going to lead kids to a life that flourishes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments, Dyson.
Mandy Morrison, Chris Knox, Bruce Foster. Chris Knox, Bruce Foster, Lane Linebaugh.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, trustees. Thank you for your service today and listening to all of our comments. Thank you for this moment to speak. My name is Chris Knox, and I am the parent of two currently enrolled Washoe County School District students. My children have gone to Washoe County schools since they were in kindergarten. I would like my children to have access to all current and diverse books in their school libraries. Do not let retired folk and people who are not from this community persuade you to override my students' First Amendment rights and ban books those people disagree with. Thank you so much for holding the line against outsiders and non-stakeholders who clearly don't understand what a student's First Amendment rights are or what book banning means. Let me state again, I am a parent of 2 students in your school district. They go to your schools. I believe in the positive impact public schools have had in my children's lives. Just one more thing. As I left today to come to this meeting, I checked the public comments that are online. There were 41 people who wrote in to support keeping all books in the library. Out of 42 comments, my guess is that they would all love to be here in person, but they have jobs. I took today off to be here. Keep that in mind. Your stakeholders who are parents with children currently enrolled in the district are not retired, not paid to be here, and do not have a lot of time on their hands. Again, I would like my children to have access to all current and diverse books in their school libraries. They can read whatever they would like to read. Removing books from library collections based on community demands is called banning books. I'm not afraid for my children to read books. Please hold the line. We have about 50 seconds left. It's been a really tough day listening to all these comments. I'd like us to take a moment. If you're a praying kind of person, maybe take a moment to pray. If you reflect, this is my time. This is my time. Respect it. If you are a meditating kind of person, just reflect. We have about 24 seconds left, and that's what I want to do with that time.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. It's again, we're better than this. Please, folks, you got these pictures on the wall to both of your right and left. That's why we're here. We're adults in the room serving our children. Please act like adults. I understand the diversity of opinions, okay? But please respect them. Allow everybody a chance to be heard, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. That's all I ask. It's simple. Okay, we're going to continue public comment. JJ?
Bruce Foster, Lane Linebaugh, Victoria Meyer.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Bruce Foster, Washoe County resident, and combined children is 6, and all our grandchildren are 9. And here we are again. We started this whole process over a year ago, and last fall I read a book, All Boys Aren't Blue. Silly me, I just don't understand or just get or wrap my head around where butt sex, you know, a lubricated penis inserted into a butt, basically is educational. Have you read All Boys Aren't Blue? I like to beg you. And then I had at a town hall, one of the trustees here that was absolutely horrified that I would actually read a book as that in front of all you ladies and gentlemen. And here we are. And I got gabbled down 3 times by President Smith, and I'm sorry that she isn't here to do the whole dirty work again and to compliment her on her map pen. But the book that I have today is Looking for Alaska, and I've read it before, and President Smith gabbled me down on it immediately. and I appreciate that. And maybe you should take gavel pounding from President Smith. Maybe we can shine some light on that. But this book, Looking for Alaska, is in close to 19 schools, both middle and high school. Oh boy, just as Brady's were getting locked in jail, Laura randomly asked me, "Have you ever gotten a blowjob?" That's out of the blue, I said. The blue? Like, you know, out of the left field? Left
Bless Michelle.
Let's do that again. Let's go ahead and reconvene the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees meeting. JJ?
Lane Linbaugh, Victoria Meyer, Marilyn Bennett.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Is this on? Yeah. I'm Lane Linebaugh, longtime resident of Washoe County. So the problem, here's a lot of the problem, is we have over 100 years of progressivism and indoctrination in our education system. So the people that taught you and the people that taught me and the people that taught the people that are 80 years old, and then they taught the people in the student unions and the teachers that taught the teachers, look at what we have. People are waking up, though, because we're done with it, and it's our kids. So we've heard a lot of things about community and who gets to speak for the kids and who doesn't. Well, because we're of a certain age, and maybe we don't have kids in the school system right now, but it's a community, and guess what? When we have kids that are harmed, they're mentally raped, they're indoctrinated, then it's all of our problem. Readers are leaders, or they used to be. So let's talk about that a little bit. I am a very avid reader, and so from a young age, because I am of a certain age, I was able to go buy books. This was a very small town, but I got into books that probably I shouldn't have gotten a hold of. We'll fast forward to decades of promiscuity, rape, drug abuse, alcoholism. Thank you, the Lord Jesus Christ, for saving me out of all of that and being here today. Okay? But so you hear these statistics from these people that say, all the suicide and the drug addiction, from the bullying, everything that they're going through. Well, could it be from what they're reading? They're getting permission from somewhere. Okay, yes, parents are responsible. All of you are responsible for this material in schools. There's cell phones, there's television. We should all do better with that too. I totally agree with that. 30 seconds. Do you want to sentence these children in our community, in our fellowship, to a life of torment? I don't think so. I don't think you do. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Next speaker.
Victoria Meyer, Marilyn Bennett, Kathy Kite.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Victoria Meyer, for the record, please put my comments on the record verbatim. I've lived here 50 years. I'm not from out of town. Anybody here from out of town? Raise your hand. Anybody live here? Raise your hand. Oh my goodness. Where's this big out of town organization? Actually, we had 2 people from out of town. Pastor Raman Chukwu and Karen England. That's it. No one here has mentioned LGBTQ. Well, there were a couple people, but most of us have not. So according to one of the speakers that came up here, these pornographic materials, actually quite a few of those people speaking on behalf of these books, protecting pornography and obscenity in the classrooms, these graphic depictions of sex are necessary to the literal survival of children? If they don't hear butt screwing, they're going to kill themselves? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Where's the adults in the room? What madness is this? What has blinded your eyes? What has blinded their eyes and closed their ears to the truth of what we're reading here? The statistics are twisted. Is this about diversity? Screwing? Rape? Is that diversity? This is about porn. It's not about the narcissistic activist who thinks this is about them. It's not about them. It's about our kids. It's about protecting our kids. It's about obscenity. This is in the classrooms being read. I have a petition with 1,700 people, and they tell me what's going on in the classroom, and it's being read in the classroom. It is not just that the kids go to the library to get this. It's read in the classroom. Statistics actually show, the same statistics that Bree referred to, that this LGBTQ group of kids, whom I feel for and I love, I'm sorry I have one in my family, a few. My grandson's been torn up by this trans garbage. His life is being destroyed, thank you, schools. These kids, this statistic shows that these kids have multiple sex partners, have high-risk behaviors, same statistics, okay? High-risk behaviors that they engage in. That's why they're suicidal, and this is why they're suicidal, because you're putting garbage, you're mentally raping their minds. It is not 100% parent-controlled. That is a lie. Parents do not have time to
Thank you for your
list
comments,
the
Ms.
books.
Thank you for your comments. Please refrain from clapping. Please refrain from clapping. Please refrain from clapping. I'm giving you the option that you can raise your hands and shake your hands all you want, but if you continue to clap and disrupt the meeting, I'm going to recess it again. Ma'am, please. Ma'am, please don't interrupt this meeting, okay? That's a warning, Ms. Tibbetts. Next speaker, please.
Marilyn Bennett, Kathy Kite, Jenny Clark. Kathy Kite, Jenny Clark, Pablo Nava Duran.
Hello, my name is Kathy Kite. I am actually a retired Washoe County School District teacher. I took that job very importantly because I served a master who is Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and I was responsible for those children. And the time that I had them in my time was to protect their soul, because they have a soul, just like you all have a soul. And it goes somewhere. It's not all over when it's over. You either go into darkness, which you're actually showing darkness right now with these books. And I agree with what Victoria said. I mean, I just verbatim, listening to some of these people get up here and talk about that they want their kids to read everything. And I was thinking, well, I don't know how they were all sexual connotations, these books. And I don't know how they could save anybody's life but destroy them. But I really, I was thinking about this today and really praying that, our pastor said, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. And we are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. And the things that you are doing and what you're putting on these children, it's sin. You guys are sinning. I don't even know anywhere to say it, because that word needs to be get out there, back out in the public square. I'm sorry. But it's sin is what separated us from God, and it's sin that will destroy us, and the enemy will use it. And you right now are being his tool. Sad to say that you're being his tool. And no matter how much you want to say you're not, because you're not God. And you'll never be God, and you're not your own God. Jesus is God. His Father is over him. And these children, my heart just breaks that you would destroy them, their mind and everything about them, and not bat an eye. I don't know, you know, Kristen O'Neill, I know you. I was actually a teacher when Morrison was actually brought in, and of course that was a mistake. And I think you guys have been doing mistakes ever since then. Actually, I was the one that stood up and talked to him and told him I heard all of this BS already, now give us the truth in front of everybody. I don't know if you remember that over at Glen Duncan. And really, we want truth, and we want light, and we want it for this world. We want safety, and you're not offering any of that if you allow these things to go on. And so I just pray that if any of you have known the Lord before and you have fallen away, that he forgives and that you can come back to him. And that may mean embarrassment, and maybe you mean getting off this board, or maybe being like Jeff Church and standing up, even though I'm ashamed of you, Jeff, for getting up and leaving. But anyway, that's all I have to say, as I really pray for you guys.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Next question, please.
Jenny Clark, Pablo Nava Duran, Fred Meyer.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Thank you. The left is really good at selecting their words. Extremist policies, people from out of town. Well, I have a few words for them and you. How about communists, groomers, pedophiles? There's no logical excuse to allow this material or to keep secrets from parents unless you are trying to groom our children. I just want to be informed about what and by the way, I do have 2 children in the Washoe County School District, and I am a taxpayer, so I have a right to be here and to speak my mind. I just want to be informed about what my children are doing and learning at school. I don't want my children going to a school where other immature children are reading sexually explicit material, and I think deep down that you know that. The leftists are the extremists wanting to normalize sex at a younger age. Why not allow alcohol in schools or rooms for kids to have sex? It's distracting. They're there to learn, okay? And when you have this type of material in the libraries, kids are just walking around being sexually aroused. It's not right. That's not what they're there for. I've heard a couple of librarians say parents do have a choice on what their kids have access to. I'd like to know how that works. Can I request that my children not have access to books that feature homosexual parents or sexually explicit material? And then what? They follow my child around the library and make sure they don't pull these books off the shelves? What if the only book that my children can check out is the Lipstick on Pigs transdemic book? Is that okay? You talk about safe spaces, but I don't think there are any safe spaces for conservatives here. There are books out there that speak to kids of different backgrounds that don't involve sex. This is yet another excuse designed by the left to make us feel guilty and to allow you to keep grooming our children. But it's not going to work. I used to be a brain-dead liberal zombie, and thank goodness for my husband constantly hitting me with logic and facts, and he finally woke me up. Okay, now I feel like I'm backed into a corner here, and that's why we get upset. If you're so confident that these policies are good, then why not send a copy of some examples of this language home to every parent and see what they think? The suicide rate among the alphabet community is so high because so many people indulge their fantasies instead of getting them real help. I don't know how you guys can listen to all the material from these books and sleep at night. It's so disgusting. I try to read some of this for my own knowledge, and it makes me sick. You should read Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comments.
Pablo Nava Duran, Fred Meyer, Marilyn Bennett.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, my name is Pablo Nava Duran, and I saw so many white wiener on my bike over there, so I'm going to tell you the election results. So your candidate lost the election by wide margin of point.
Sure,
Okay,
sir. If you could just address the board, please. Thank you.
Right. So I'm here not to ban books. The Richard book is banned book, and then also, and then I'm not here to ban school, keep it diversity as it is, to not majority of a school. So hopefully, hopefully I want to, and that's it. So.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Again, folks, respectfully ask that we not clap. Please eliminate the disruption so we can allow everybody to get heard. Everybody have a diverse opinion. Really want to reduce any intimidation factor. JJ?
Fred Meyer, Marilyn Bennett, Joey Gilbert.
Oh boy, Fred Meyer. I can't really say anything that hasn't already been said. This is so frustrating. We came here a year ago, whatever it's been. Everybody, I think, was reasonable talking to you folks. We actually ran into Joseph Rodriguez at a radio show, had a nice conversation. He was very civil. I think the whole conversation was civil. Touching on a little bit of this stuff, but you know, we just don't understand why you don't pay attention. He did mention that, you know, when people get passionate, you guys just go up, and you know, you just stop listening. You can't stop listening. You can't do it. It's not fair. It's not right. We're the ones who put you there. Well, maybe not me, but maybe some of these people. But anyway, you're there for us. It doesn't matter. You are there for us, not for the LGBTQ community. You're not here for them. It seems like you are. That's exactly what it seems like. Because one person just said, and I think this is a great idea. I thought you stole my idea, whoever it was. I think that if we sent a few of these paragraphs, do it. I challenge you to the parents. Every parent in this school system, 66,000 kids in school. No, it's dropping, 50-something thousand now. Send them a couple paragraphs out of these books. Get them to check out, yay, we love it, or get it out. Just give them two choices. Do it. I challenge you. You're going to get a nay. You're going to get a no. You're going to get a few LGBTs that think that it's going to help their kid from committing suicide. That is crazy. My wife brought that up. You know it makes no sense. You know it makes zero sense that if I can read about, I can't even say these things. If the kids can read about it, it's going to help them mentally. They're going to feel so much better. Yeah, bullshit. Well, get ready. Anyway, we just would appreciate that you really do pay attention to us. I want to be respectful. It's hard because we're getting frustrated. And by the way, it doesn't take an Amanchuco coming here with Karen England to get us passionate. We were passionate before they ever showed up. Y'all know that. So these people who want to get up and say, oh, these national be two people, and we've all been coming here. They just helped rally a few more and bring some attention because folks work and they can't make it. So we represent a huge block of this community, and y'all got to know that. Please pay attention to us. Please don't ignore us. And thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you for your comments, sir.
Marilyn Bennett, Joey Gilbert, Amanda Gill.
Board of Trustees, Interim Superintendent McNeil, Incoming Superintendent Ernst, General Public, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've been a resident of Washoe County for 40 years, a parent of two children who graduated from Washoe County School District, one of whom had Mr. Ernst as a teacher in 6th grade. And I've worked in libraries for over 50 years. I've raised two ravenous readers, and I'm contributing to the raising of two grandchildren who also read voraciously. I currently work with high school students, ages 13 to 22. When we discuss banned books each year during Banned Book Week in the fall, it always surprises my students what is proposed to be banned. They know that I want them to have the best information. They know that I have books on my shelves so that they have information. And so when I asked them, what do you think's been suggested to be banned this time, they said, Mein Kampf, you have that, Ms. Bennett. I know that you do. And yeah, I'm sure. Mein Kampf, they want you to take that out. Communist Manifesto, I know they want you to take that one out, right? No. When I tell them the Bible, the Harry Potter series, what? Why Harry Potter? What? Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. And All Boys Aren't Blue. They are flabbergasted. My students know that I work hard to make sure they are represented on my shelves. My students are dealing with issues of sexuality, gender, sexual violence, being people of color who experience discrimination, issues of immigration status, etc. If we're telling these students that their experiences are not appropriate for our school libraries, maybe we're telling these students that they are not appropriate for our schools. And we have heard at least one speaker today say those exact words. Rather than thinking that it's what is going on in the books is okay, as another speaker suggested, they often find that having others, having gone through the same experience and survived it, means that maybe they can too. I appreciate the woman who read a novel here with questions that real teenagers would ask about sex and sexuality. Books are meant to give us windows into a world where we may not have belonged, mirrors to see ourselves and others like us.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you coming up. Thank you.
Joey Gilbert, Amanda Gill, Adeline Hurley.
Meant to read if that's okay with y'all. Can you hear me? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Amanda Morrison, and I'm here on behalf of Joey Gilbert. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here since the way you scheduled these meetings makes it virtually impossible for hardworking parents to attend. I'd like to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'd like to believe that you are just doing your best, but it's clear this entire setup is designed to minimize parental input. Not only have you scheduled a public meeting in the middle of a workday, there is little to no parking. There are only a handful of seats. I'm disappointed that this is the best you are willing to do for citizens of this community. First, I would like to thank Jeff Church for being the sole voice of reason and courage on this board. The rest of you, shame on you. I came in here with all due respect intended, but after watching the dismissive behavior directed towards citizens of this community, I'm less inclined to show you respect that you failed to show others. For those that are looking at me right now, I appreciate it. Your procedures for conducting these meetings prove one thing. You're scared. You should be. You're scared, and that's why you disable the live feed and use law enforcement to kick out anyone who you are threatened by. It's why you desperately avoid eye contact to try and separate yourself from much-deserved criticism from the public you are accountable to. To the rest of you, apologies. To the rest of you, I'm here to go on record and state unequivocally, you have picked a fight you will not win. In 2020, Joey stood in front of you and told you that you were wrong and when you supported smothering children in masks and when you let them believe that breathing fresh air was selfish. You were told that data proved masks were ineffective and that the data didn't support your policies. Joey told you distance learning would be a disaster. It was. You just sat there with smug looks on your faces just as you are now. Hear me when I say this. Those smug looks of yours will be short-lived. The data was always conclusive, and you ignored it to the detriment of our children. Our children are in a mental health crisis that you've contributed to. There is blood on your hands. Kids are killing themselves as a direct consequence of your policies. Every policy decision you have made has taken our kids from bad to worse. The brave space nonsense, pornography in schools, and the transgender agenda being pushed onto children will not end well. The data is conclusive. It's just a phase. The vast majority of those who suffer from gender confusion grow out of it within 5 years or less, especially the girls. An NIH study of 90 million people proved conclusively that those who undergo these harmful gender transition treatments are 12.12 times more likely to commit suicide than their peers as a result. It's a lie to say these procedures save lives when the data is clear. Suicide risk increases up to 20 times after transitioning. The policies you're supporting are harming our children. Your days of facilitating private sexual conversations with other people's children are coming to an end. When the children you are exploiting seek to seek accountability for the harm you've done at your hands, Joey Gilbert will be there to fight for them within the full scope of the law. Just like Fauci, your day of reckoning is fast approaching.
Okay. Please.
Amanda Gill, Adeline Hurley, Katie Hurley.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the board today. Unlike most people who would get up here and speak today, I actually have children currently in this school district. By the way, I also went to the school district and graduated from the district. I'm involved with their schools. I see the incredible work that teachers and staff do each day. And to hear teachers and other staff members be derided as groomers who are indoctrinating our children, I find personally sickening and disgusting. These are people who have dedicated their life to the service of educating our future. I have never seen any of these things in my children's classrooms. I make it a point to volunteer in the classrooms, the libraries. None of my children have ever expressed seeing anything like this in our classrooms. I truly don't believe this is actually happening. I also know kids don't need to go to the library for explicit material. They have cell phones, laptops, video games. If your child doesn't own one of these devices, their friends do. Someone's going to show it to them. Kids aren't reading a whole book just to get to one salacious scene. I attend school board meetings because I care about issues like funding and class sizes. These people are using things like book banning and critical race theory to try and scandalize and manipulate you. And once you do that, you enter a far more nefarious world that is much less about protecting children and more about pushing a Christian nationalist agenda. The organizations like Turning Point, Critical Research Institute, and others fly provocateurs here for the sole purpose of causing chaos at these board meetings. Most of these people actually advocate for homeschooling and see little to no value in public education, something I believe is one of our most precious rights in this country. So to anyone listening, please don't let them use their fear or religious tactics to scare you. And please stand by our board, our teachers, and our students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments, ma'am.
Adeline Hurley, Katie Hurley, Stacy Stosich.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Adeline Hurley. I am a member of the Washoe County School System and a student in middle school. I would like to bring to your attention some information in regard to the banning of books in schools. First of all, I would like to say that teachers and librarians are not recommending pornography to students under the guise of LGBTQIA+ novels. In fact, most books containing queer aspects serve as a gateway into a world where children who might not understand their identity yet feel validated in their emotions without scrutiny. In the history we are taught in schools, most oppressed groups like the LGBTQIA+ community who identify with a different culture, religion, or identity never get to tell their side of the story because of how people have demonized it and deemed it unworthy of research. The novels that are in question today are purely another instance of people trying to oppress these groups and sugarcoat every mistake we have made in the past. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Katie Hurley, Stacy Stosich.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm a parent of 2 children in the Washoe County School District, and I'm here to voice my support for the teachers, the librarians, and the school board. Those who are attempting to censor books in schools claim they are protecting children from pornographic material. Children are not assessing porn in literature. What these groups are actually opposing is our children's right to a diverse and pluralistic education and the rights of other parents who don't hold their worldview. The groups seeking to ban books are stoking fear on purpose. These false depictions of abuse are manipulation and political maneuvering. They've created a problem and then offer to be the ones to fix said problem. This is one way to gain power and control, and a common tactic used by abusers and authoritarians. The slow erosion of our education system will be an albatross around all of our necks. These books that are being labeled as perverse represent the experiences of people who've been historically marginalized and whose voices have been silenced. As a parent, I want my children exposed to many different voices. I expect during their education that they will encounter ideas and information that is different than what I have taught them. Some of these ideas may echo my beliefs, but many others will not. Some of these teachers will be in their classrooms, and some of them will be in books. Some information will be offensive or difficult, but this is where learning takes place. I'd like to end with a quote by Toni Morrison about the importance of the written word. Truth is trouble. It is trouble for the warmonger, the torturer, the corporate thief, the political hack, the corrupt justice system, and for a comatose public. Unpersecuted, unjailed, unharassed writers are trouble for the ignorant bully, the sly racist, and the predators feeding off the world's resources. The alarm the disquiet writers raise is instructive because it is open and vulnerable, because if unpoliced, it is threatening. Therefore, the historical suppression of writers is the earliest harbinger of the steady peeling away of additional rights and liberties that will follow. The history of persecuted writers is as long as the history of literature itself, and the efforts to censor, starve, regulate, and annihilate us are clear signs that something important has taken place. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for being here.
Stacy Stosich, Kit DeCarlo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Stacy Stosich. I do have 2 children in Washoe County School District, and I am a teacher, a very proud teacher. I am here today to express my support for our school district comprehensive parental choice program and to address some concerns that have been raised regarding the effectiveness and necessity. Our current program already empowers parents with the ability to limit specific titles, genres, and themes that their children cannot check out from the library. Through the online portal, parents have the visibility into what their children are reading, ensuring that they can make informed decisions about their child's literacy exposure. This level of transparency and control is more than adequate to meet the needs of our diverse community. Unfortunately, it appears, because I'm here today witnessing it, that there is a manufactured outrage being stirred by individuals, some who do not reside in Washoe County and do not have students currently enrolled in our schools. It is important to recognize that these voices may not fully understand or appreciate the existing measures in place that are already prioritize parental choice and involvement. Moreover, representation in literature is crucial for raising healthy, well-rounded children. Diverse books help students see themselves and others in stories they read, fostering empathy, understanding, and a love of learning. It is essential that our libraries, after a wide range of books that reflect the varied experiences and backgrounds of our student body. The current system strikes a balance between parental control and the educational benefits of diverse literature. I urge the community to continue supporting this balanced approach, which respects parental rights while promoting an inclusive and enriching educational environment for all students in our community. I want to thank you very much for your time and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Kit DeCarlo.
Kit DeCarlo for
Good
the
afternoon.
record.
I'm
Good
sorry,
afternoon.
go ahead.
Sorry. Good afternoon. Kit DeCarlo for the record. I just want to open with, I'm 21 years old and I graduated in 2020. I had the COVID graduation that everyone so appreciated. And I just want to say I'm here because I'm concerned for children. Quite frankly, pornography should not be exposed to these kids. It's their natural born right for them to have innocence. And that is stripping it away from them. I understand that people say it produces empathy, and I think it's completely wrong, and the opposite, actually. It produces apathy because it demeans what sex is all about and the relationship that you form with the person that you're committing it with. It's completely wrong, and to not care about the parents' choice in the matter of what's being exposed to their children, and that where it's very clear that what happens at school does not get told to parents. I know I was in school, and we didn't have to say everything that was going in school. And when you're at high school or even younger, you don't want to tell your parents everything. So everything with these books that have to go with sexuality, high school is a very difficult time, and you're developing, you're processing things, and you have questions, and I think this exploits children, it exploits their minds and their vulnerability, and it needs to be taken into consideration that this is harming children and not helping their mental development for adulthood. a lot of these kids are about to become adults, especially when they're in high school. They can take that opportunity to look at porn if they want to. But in school, it should not be an option. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
John England.
No, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. England.
Good afternoon. Just to qualify myself, I will agree that I no longer reside in Washoe County or Sparks or Reno, but I graduated from Sparks High in 1972, attended the University of Nevada, Reno, and worked as a teacher for Washoe County School District back when they had covered wagons. So I've got a little bit of age, yes. That said, this is my community, and I still have involvement with this community. My remarks today are simply regarding 50 to 90 middle school and high school students that I've worked with for the past 12 years as a part of Pathfinders Children's Ministry that serves our children throughout this town and this area. I just got back from Elko at Cowboys Rest, where we had the chance to work with 50 of those kids, bringing them out there for an entire week, another great week. The students we work with, just like the school district, come from very challenging environments with difficult financial and family situations that they deal with every day of their lives. The primary reason behind the volunteers at Pathfinders, and I think it's no surprise, is because, yes, we all have a personal faith in Jesus Christ and believe in the absolute truth of God's Word, the Bible. And we base those beliefs and that faith on seeking to care for the welfare of our children that we serve. I believe that the evidence presented here today confirms that the district is in direct opposition to what I believe is the welfare of the children the district is here to serve. A quick bit of research this week as I prepared my remarks regarding the sad recent incidences of sexual abuse by Washoe County School District employees had this common response from you as a board. WCSD is appalled and shocked by the alleged allegations, and these actions do not represent the employees or our district. They are reprehensible. Unfortunately, that same comment has not been issued in regard to these textbooks. In fact, you are willfully and willingly supporting the use of them, the purchase of them by the schools and the sites. And that's what we oppose today, simply because they destroy the minds and the hearts of the young people. That is the result of pornographic, sexually explicit material.
Thank you, Mr. England, and thank you for your previous service for our students.
Go ahead.
JJ, do we have any more public comment? Okay.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Terry DeBarger. I'm an English teacher in Washoe County School District, and I come to speak on something that I'm hearing that's unsettling to me, which is when people are protesting books being in libraries, and there's a system for doing that. I mean, there's a procedure for a parent or community member to challenge any material. But what I'm hearing is decontextualization, and so I'm hearing things read out of context. And I think it's very important because if I can just, there was a sign back there just a moment ago that said no. It was a really good sign. It had the word no with an exclamation point. And then after the exclamation point, I want to make sure I get this right. It said, no exclamation point, porn is for kids. So that reads, no, porn is for kids. Now, taking that out of context would be unfair, given what the sign holder held. But I think it's just a clear example of how context in the entire work, in the entire situation, matters. So I don't want to accuse the person holding that sign of being in favor of pornography. I don't believe that was their intention. And I think if you take quotations out of books, out of context, they may seem objectionable and difficult in segment. But I think when you read them as a totality, you can make a better judgment. In the same way that you might look at the David, for example, in Italy, and if you were to take a very small portion of the David, it would clearly be inappropriate, but it's considered one of the great works of art. So I would just ask you to continue doing your job. Thank you for taking such a long amount of time on this issue. I think it's important. But remember, context matters. And when a student goes to the library, what they're doing is they're seeking a private exchange with a text. They're looking for something that is internal to themselves. And as any of you know who've read a book that's had a powerful impact on you, I'm sure you can imagine that that is a unique and somewhat personal experience. So we don't want to deprive students of that who might be seeking that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, sir. JJ.
John Roberts.
Good afternoon, Mr. Roberts.
Good afternoon. Yeah, my name's John Roberts. I live in Sparks, Nevada. I got a grandchild. And I just wanted to bring this point up. I think maybe everybody's escaped this, but we've been here for hours totally focused on genitalia at a school board meeting where you would think that scholastics would be the focus. And that's not a good commentary on a society that we're so fixated on genitalia. But in any event, in regards to this subject, I think that I think it would be fair to be transparent and send these excerpts that have been attempted to be read here in total, which haven't been, send these excerpts home with every single student to their parents and have their parents express whether or not they approve of it. I mean, this is the United States of America. This is not some aristocracy. The people should decide what's right for their children, not you people. You people technically are public servants. You're not public overlords. And you need to be reminded of that. And another thing is, which really appalls me, I didn't find this out until just a day or two ago when I asked the question, how does the school get away with exposing children to things that if I was to send it across the internet to a minor, to my best guess, because I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a cop, but to my best guess, I think I'd probably be guilty of a felony. So how is it that the school gets away with this without any criminal liability? And to my amazement, I found out there's a Nevada revised statute that protects you all. NRS 201.237 specifically exempts all of you and virtually everybody that works for state and local government in Nevada from any of the Nevada obscenity laws. I think that's something else that should be brought to the attention of the citizenry, because I think this cuts across party lines. I got to believe 99+% of parents and grandparents are not on board with that. So, like plenty of other speakers have said, you know, we're all going to be facing our Maker someday on Judgment Day, and it doesn't matter if you believe in it. It's just like it doesn't matter if you believe in gravity. You can step off a cliff and proclaim you don't believe in gravity, but you just schedule an appointment with the ground, and you're not going to be late. And the same thing goes for Judgment Day. We're all going to be there, and we're all going to have to answer for our lives. So when you wake up in the middle of the night, and us old people, we do it all the time, and sure even you younger people do, and your mind's racing, think about that. Think about what you're going to say to your Maker when you stand in front of them, and you're leaving decisions that are real serious to 11 and 12-year-olds who aren't ready to make those decisions.
Okay, thank you, sir.
The board received emails from Kimberly Schlossmacher, Ava Anderson, Heather Gillespie, Kim Mazaris, Melissa Fant, Jacqueline Bond, Megan Emerson Trowbridge, Simon Smith, Figbar Lonesome, Sony, Patricia Zimmerman, Catherine Reiser, David Moss, Glenda Mahin, Dr. Tara Quiros, Lisa Downer, Solani, Joseph Mendoza, Randall Martinson, D. Luria, former trustee Marilyn Fendlander, Jordan Myers, Jan Bishop, Sandy Taylor, Donna Smith, Nasim Jamina, Gail Findley, Kathy Rice, Stevie Herrera, Elizabeth Kramer, Rosemary Johnson, Dave Winter, Donna Bubb, Gabby Knox, Michael Knox, Percy Carano, Catherine Barton Harper, and Leah Yanoff.
Okay, thank you, JJ. We're going to close public comment, take about a 5-minute recess, and then we will return to wrap up this meeting. Okay, thank you. Okay, team, call this meeting back to order. We're just about done. We are going to forego our trustee board reports for this meeting, so we will go past 5.0. And I'm sorry, sir, I want to be consistent. We're going to go past 5.01, and we're going to go to the interim superintendent's report. It's been a long day. And JJ, if you could pull up those pictures at the right time that I sent you on the Honda giveaway, and our superintendent will highlight that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. So just a huge thank you to all of our principals and our teachers and our custodians and everybody. A special thank you to Ms. Vanjie Russell, who made our graduations a huge success. And I want to do a shout out to our board members that showed up to every single graduation and that were able to go to the ones that you could go. Even if you got to a couple of them, it just really means so much to our students and our families. So thank you very, very much. This Saturday, I was not able to attend, but it is a true Cinderella story for the Honda Perfect Attendance Car giveaway. There was a wonderful story in the newspaper about our Gerlach student, and she received a brand new Honda Civic, brand new car. Mackenzie Echeverry won that car, and there she is. She picked the blue one. And a special note about Mackenzie. Now, Sandy Raffaelli does this every single year. I think she's done it now for almost, 17 years. I'm not quite sure, but 16? I was very close. But the special thing about Mackenzie is she has not missed a day of school from kindergarten to 12th grade. And so just a huge, huge shout out to Mackenzie and her entire family. Literally the entire town of Gerlach showed up. So congratulations to Mackenzie. And I am going to, Chair, if you will allow me for this last section, I'm going to move over here to the table over here to do this last session.
Sure, please
and
do.
Hopefully you will give me that since this is my last meeting.
It is your last meeting behind the dais, so I will absolutely grant you that. Thank you, Interim Superintendent McNeil. And again, we'll say our formal goodbyes at our July 23rd meeting.
Thank you very much, Chair, members of the board. And incoming Superintendent Ernst, would you like to join me at this table? So there are just a few things that I thought, even though I'm trying to prepare you as well as I possibly can, I thought there were some things that I would share with you that every superintendent needs. And just so you know, and the entire staff knows this, I will most likely get emotional. So, with that, your entire bag of Washoe County School District pens, these are all for you. And when you get your suits dry cleaned, they actually will give you a little bag with all the pens that you forgot. You will definitely need your energy bars. So here's an entire box of Cliff chocolate chip bars. And Chief General Counsel Rombardo does not like chocolate chips, so you don't have to worry about sharing these with him. And for the amount of things that you're going to sign, here is an entire box of your favorite pens. P-I-N-S. And because I am such a cheapskate, I get to take my Kristen McNeil nameplate, but you actually now have your own nameplate. Oh, and that's not all. Because you like to drink lots of water and you need to stay hydrated with your energy bars, your very own Joe Ernst WCSD Superintendent water bottle. And I am so proud of myself because I knew how to order this online and type in the whole name. And because you know how important Nevada is to our students and that you are a resident, at the Junior Achievement event, I bid on this particular thing, not knowing who our new superintendent was. But there was somebody that was outbidding me. So this is very special to me, and I want to see it in your office, hanging on that beautiful wood wall. And when it gets to be really tough, and you just take a breath, just know that this is what matters. This is what matters. And that's it.
Dr. McNeil, thank you. I appreciate all of these kind gifts, the sentiments behind them, and the contribution you've made to Washoe County School District. It is utterly substantial. And our school district has been through many highs and lows, and you have been the calm in the storm. And you display that through your leadership, your fairness, your kindness, and I will tell you, Board of Trustees, that my opportunity to work alongside Superintendent McNeil has been irreplaceable. To have this opportunity to learn from Dr. McNeil is something that I'll be forever grateful for. And I know that I speak on behalf of our leadership team, our Board of Trustees, and the staff within Washoe County School District. We so much, very much wish you the best moving forward so that you can enjoy. And I hope when you look back, you know that all you did to put us in a great place, and you get to enjoy all that's in front of you, Kristen. And I'm personally very, very grateful, and I know so many of us are. So thank you very much. Thank you. Yep.
Well, I can't top that. So we'll adjourn the meeting. Our next meeting will be on July 23rd, 2024. That's about a month from today. Wishing everybody a very safe and wonderful summer. See you in July. This meeting's adjourned.